Let's enter Weird Showbiz History.
My name spells trouble. D-A-V-R-O, trouble. Well, I never was very good at spelling.
You thought you were going to get away with it. Oh, tonight, Bobby Davro, this is your plight.
This deep dive is about a clip that I've watched millions of times. This is how a TV episode ended. This is how that episode truly ended. Bobby Davro, impressionist extraordinaire, king of the cheeky quip. He was a staple of 80s TV. A man who could impersonate anyone from Postman Pat to, I think, Oliver Hardy. But even the brightest stars can have their off nights. So let's dive headfirst into the gloriously strange story of the Public Enemy #1 incident, and how his life nearly ended in a moment where light entertainment turned dark.
Mind you, they have bought American football, and that's great. Have you seen the Super Bowl? That's a great show. That was marvellous, wasn't it? Hey, the refrigerator, he's one of my favourites. Oh, the padding that he's got on. I'll tell you what, the last time I saw padding like that was in Dynasty.
In the 80s at ITV, he'd shown the world he could do it all. Impressions, stand-up comedy, even more impressions. In 1992, Davro was given his first ever BBC series. Now he would prove his mettle as a hidden camera prankster with Public Enemy #1, setting up hilarious booby traps for scores of unsuspecting celebrities and innocent civilians.
I've been out and about amongst you for the last 7 days. You haven't recognised me because I've been heavily disguised as a nice, normal person. Honest? Really, truthful. But hidden about my person has been a secret camera. Now, I'm not...
This was a huge risk. At the time, there was a plethora of people shows like Surprise Surprise and anything with Michael Barrymore. Though most saw those shows as brilliantly entertaining, others saw those types of shows as lazy and uncreative, relying on the general public's life stories and emotional reactions to drive the content, instead of just creating something original. Even worse, it controversially used the exact same format as ITV's Beatles About. A show occasionally lambasted at the time for embarrassing people and untethering them from what they previously thought was a known reality, taking a member of the public through a mental mind flip. And ending their ordeal with the realization that they'd been duped, and the viewing nation would find their potential trauma hilarious. And to be fair, it was. Cynics mused it was just a low-rent copy of an existing divisive show. Beadle was the Yoda of TV prank entertainment, and he wasn't ready to pass the torch / lightsaber. Yoda. Ever the philosopher, Davro intellectualized the necessity for such a show. The show will take a compulsive look at human nature at its best and its worst. And he would witness the very worst at the hands of fellow showbiz luminaries.
You're not on this show.
Well, no, hang on. He doesn't know I'm not supposed to be here. But during the course of this series, right, you've embarrassed me. Not only me, but 27 other celebrities. Is that right?
Yeah, it wasn't me. The first of a brand new series. I'm Bobby Davro, and I'm Public Enemy #1. Forget Al Capone, forget Hannibal Lecter, forget... I can't remember who to forget now.
The show was filled to the brim of top-tier British celebrities. Turner, Winton, Joseph, coupled with hilarious humour.
That's it. Dick is going to bark.
But in the last episode of the series, it was Davro's turn to be given a taste of his own medicine.
Sadly, this is the last show in the series. Ah. Come on, you got bigger arse than that. Come on. Ah. Sound like an advert for Vistos.
Bobby was riding wave upon waves of laughter from the captivated studio audience.
It's a picture of our Tony in the bar.
Who hoped to reach light entertainment climax with the much anticipated finale. In the previous weeks, Lionel Blair, Jim Bowen and Keith Chegwin were all pranked and humiliated.
Can I just make a point? The reason I did it is because I raised £30,000 for charity.
We made it up. He hasn't seen this. This is just a made-up poster. Take a look at this.
Here we are, ladies and gentlemen. This is your once only opportunity to see the Lionel Blair show. 4 hours of family fun. All singing, all dancing, spectacular. Madam, would you be...
Very much for that. I don't like the shirt very much either, so we're a bit... Just, hang on. I'm right out of the way, that's it. We don't want to get your nipples. That's it. Here, look. Oh, lovely, see? How's that?
Actor, children's presenter, game show host.
All of those things, and we're confident that pretty soon he's going to find out something that he's very good at.
And as a mea culpa, they were allowed to enact revenge.
Now, it wasn't me, I'm innocent.
Shut up. During the show, you embarrassed 28 celebrities, right? And you asked people what they thought of them, right? You asked people what they thought of me. But we thought tonight we'd turn the tables and ask them what they think of you.
Who else is here? Lionel!
You thought you were going to get away with it. Tonight, Bobby Davro, this is your plight.
He was to be placed in stocks and have tomatoes thrown at his face. Harmless fun. It wasn't. Keith Chegwin, an eternally jolly presenter beloved by multiple generations, and would make TV history by presenting the first ever all-naked game show.
Thank you. Now, that's what we just go mad. Hello and a warm welcome to The Naked Jungle, a show to celebrate the world of naturism. Now,
Lionel Blair, a British entertainment icon, who worked alongside Sammy Davis Jr., Tommy Cooper, now Davro. Jim Bowen, a northern stalwart comedian famous for presenting game shows like Bullseye. They were the Mount Rushmore of people on that television show. I spent months and months reviewing this footage, and these are my findings of the crime that took place. Bobby had his hands and head padlocked in a wooden vise, stood on a small plinth 8 feet from the ground. How could anything go wrong? As with many shows in their heyday, there's a certain naivety that because everything is working, if a funny idea comes to mind last minute, everything needs to be done to make sure the concept is brought to life, to ensure ultimate audience satisfaction. But last-minute ideas aren't always the most sensible. On this day, the stocks were hastily put together by production, but there would be 0 injuries as long as no one goes into business for themselves. Lionel Blair undoes Bobby's belt and trousers. Any notion of potential danger is quickly quelled by an a cappella rendition of Always Look on the Bright Side of Life. A beautifully improvised moment that also has the unfortunate side effect of drowning out the concerns of Mr. Davro. Bowen and Blair take centre stage as Chegwin is muscled off the platform, now faced with the impossible task of sidestepping upwards. In their state of euphoria, their two-step naturally progresses to goose-stepping, unbalancing the already vulnerable structure. Bowen touches the plinth as he and Blair flee the scene of the crime, and poor Bobby hurtles helplessly towards Earth. Those words rang hollow. The innocence of light entertainment was lost. A sobering moment that all is fun and games until someone is shackled, kegged and pulled to a concrete floor. Chegwin played a small part in the crime, showing remorse by not stabilizing Bobby's spine and raising him by his head. Blair and Bowen, the clear suspects, watched on, stunned, now realizing the consequences of their questionable decisions. Whistleblower Keith Chegwin would describe the aftermath. When he lifted Bobby to his trouser-laden feet, he was conscious but delirious. An ambulance was called, rushing him to hospital.
Once Bobby had gone, the three men remained in shock, heading back to the Portland hotel, where they sat waiting for news from the hospital. Eventually, the prodigal son returned. Walking into the hotel bar in a heck of a state, the left-hand side of his face badly damaged. Bobby said the doctors told him if he hadn't have managed to turn his head slightly the millisecond before impact, he would have broken his nose in a massive way. His face would have caved in. Bobby would eventually recover from his injuries and remained philosophical. He wasn't a man to lay blame, a showbiz martyr, reverting to his introspective nature. A lot of celebrities on the show hurt their own ego, but I was the only one to get physically hurt, so it was poetic justice.
The show was dropped after terrible reviews. Ultimately, Public Enemy #1 was a fascinating and terrible experiment for British TV. It was bold, it was strange, it was undeniably Davro. It didn't set the ratings on fire, but you know what? He gave it a go. And though his stay at the top was all too brief, he left an indelible mark on the memory of all of those that witnessed him at his peak in the 1980s. But isn't that what true Public Enemies aim for? To be remembered, however infamously. His notorious moment in the stocks proved that Davro was willing to take risks and push boundaries and have trousers pulled down to his ankles, all for the sake of a slight laugh. And for that he deserves our respect, or at least a hearty chuckle. It's a reminder to always be aware of one's own limitations, and also that some niches and specialities, it really should be left to the experts. So what do you think about this story? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into weird showbiz history, don't forget to like and subscribe for more strange and fascinating stories from the world of entertainment. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.